Hi, my name is Garrett and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be starting a new series I'm calling my Shop Enhancement series. By definition, a shop is a place where things are manufactured or repaired. An enhancement is an increase or improvement in quality, value, or extent, so a shop enhancement is a small improvement in my shop that I made and decided to film the process for more content. This corner will be the subject of today's episode. In the house my wife and I moved into, all the exterior doors lead directly down to a step. This never bothered me, but it did bother my wife. I wasn't convinced that moving the step 3 feet further away would make that much of a difference, but I've since changed my mind on that. Here is a mock-up of the corner of my garage that I made in CAD. There will be a landing and a step to make getting in and out of the shop easier. I also want to make this platform over here so that the recycling bin and the mini fridge are on the same level as the landing. Above that, I'll make a table that will replace the shelf that was left by the previous owners. The dehumidifier will also be put on this table along with all the other charging stuff. What finally convinced me that this was a good idea was when my dog tore her ACL. I had to build a ramp to get her in and out of the house, and boy did I know I was wrong the moment I stepped out onto that ramp. I don't know what it is, but it feels so much easier entering and exiting the house with that ramp. I, just like every good husband, knows that the best way to show your wife that you're wrong and she was right is to immediately take her idea and put it in your shop. That way you can appreciate her good idea every time you go out there. Or maybe don't take that advice. The first frame I'm making is the landing with a pretty straightforward design. I made the 2x4 joist spaced about 5 to 6 inches on center. I'll be using some 1/2-inch plywood for the flooring later on, so I want plenty of support underneath it. This frame is for the step, and this frame is for the platform that the recycling bin and mini fridge will go onto. Now that I've gotten the first few frames built up, I'm going to put the legs onto the landing. I measure each side so I know for sure that the legs will be the right length. With the legs attached, I can use a level to measure how long to cut this front right leg. I use the level again to measure the front left leg of the platform. This step didn't need any fancy measuring, just 4 feet the same height. I did measure each leg for the platform so that it is level with the landing. I'm going to be using some cheap plywood here for my subfloor or decking, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty simple to cut these 3 sections of plywood down and screw them into place. I pride myself on planning out projects ahead of time, however I did make a mistake. There is a 2-inch gap here that is because I did not take this sill into account in my measurements. Instead of having one 2x4 to support the table on top, I just built out enough material to account for that gap. The final frame I'm making is going to be for the table. This is an odd shape because I have to get around the exhaust pipes for my furnace. While building something like this with really repetitive tasks, I spent a lot of time trying to think how I can make it more efficient, and this is what I came up with. To start the hole, I use a center punch and punch it in a few times. This gives the tip of the screw a really good place to start, and I can easily drive in the screw. This saves so much time compared to doing this. I'm sure there are better ways to do this, but I used what I had to work with. When doing work like this, it almost feels like adult Legos. After I get the cut list planned out and cut all the sections of length, it's just grab the parts and assemble. It's really quite meditative in a way. I can attach the legs to the table and muscle it into place, making sure to line up the feet with the base of the platform below. I cut another piece of plywood with the corner cut out for the top of the table. Now I can start putting in all the screws to hold down the top. These 2 screws completely missed the 2x4, so I pulled them out and moved them back a little bit so they were actually holding onto something. Using some angle iron, I made some L brackets that will keep this side of the table secure. Then I made up these 2 simple steel brackets to make sure the 2 legs stay in place. I can now fill it back up with everything that was there, adding a power strip for all the charging stuff, and just like that, my first shop enhancement is done. This is what the corner looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. That shelf that was kind of awkward and hard to use is now this entire table with plenty of horizontal surfaces for me to fill up with random junk. Walking in and out of the shop is much easier now. If you don't believe me, just watch how fast I can get in and out of the shop. Jokes aside, this is a really nice upgrade. The one thing that some of you might have noticed is that the light switch for my shop is right here, and now it is hidden behind the table. It's buried down there, but I can still reach it with my hand to turn the light off and on. During the build, I added this little copper sleeve to the light switch, which I use in a future episode of the Shop Enhancement series to make some sort of remote mechanical light switch. For now though, I think it's time for a beer and a nap. Thank you so much for coming along with me on this build, and I can't wait to see you again the next time I'm in the shop.